Hey, welcome to the set of Donna and Friends. Today I have a very special guest in, Joe Manning Jr., and I'm so glad to have you in studio, Joe.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here because I've got a goal this year in 2015, and that is to sit down with as many people I can in town that have grown up in Cushing. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this segment. I'm really excited. So let's just start at the very beginning, where you were born.
Well, I was born in Cushing, born in the Masonic Hospital here in Cushing, which is a different building, but located where the hospital is today. My father was born in Cushing, and his father, a medical doctor, came to Cushing in 1907 prior to statehood and set up his medical practice here in town, practiced out of a horse and buggy and all of those stories and images. Grew up on a farm where we raised cattle out at Slagle, about halfway between Cushing and Drumright, and went to grade school at Harmony, which was then not a part of the Cushing school system. It was an independent school by itself, and then graduated from Cushing High School in 1965, which means that our class is celebrating its 50th class reunion this spring. So, in fact, we're going to have a meeting tonight on a planning meeting for that this evening.
So that's big doings, and for those of you watching that have celebrated a 50th or you're going to, part of that exclusive situation is to decorate the display window at the Alumni Hall.
Okay, all right.
So, that's a big deal. So your class is going to get that honor this year during Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, well I didn't know that, so that's good.
So gosh, that only comes once.
We'll talk about that tonight.
Well, you'll need to start making plans for how you're going to do it.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about when you were a young boy and you would come to town. What was it like in Cushing?
Well, at that time, the what we today refer to as the big box stores, the big stores that carry so much things, those had not been invented yet. So businesses were all individual proprietorships. So all the shoe shops, the dress shops, the hardware stores, were all up and down Broadway, going east and west, and then on the Cleveland and Noble, going north and south, and every storefront was full, and people just did their shopping there. Had the same, if you couldn't afford something, you put it on layaway. And you paid a little bit, each month when you got a paycheck, and finally paid it out and got to take it home. But it was just a different era of downtowns were vibrant, both in small towns like Cushing and bigger towns like Stillwater or Miami or Ponca City or whatever, and then you had the big cities. I remember in the Tulsa and Oklahoma City there were big department stores downtown in those cities.
There weren't any malls.
There were no malls, so downtowns, both in all sizes of cities, is where you went to shop. And in Cushing we had men's clothers and women's clothers and shoe stores and
probably alteration shops, shoe repair,
all that, exactly.
Anything that needed done was probably a store.
When you say each one of those things, I can remember where that was located, and then that was all gradually replaced by the big box stores, and it didn't affect just small towns like Cushing. Affected. I was in Ponca City this weekend visiting a friend, and that friend was lamenting how the Ponca City downtown, even a much bigger town with big industries there, had changed over the years. And of course, we know that the department stores and whatever are not still in the downtown Oklahoma City or Tulsa. So just all has changed, but that's the one thing in life that is constant is change.
Oh yes, nothing never stays
Nothing
the same.
stays
So
the
you were
same.
grown up too in the time of when the train depot was an active place.
Yes, that was probably coming to an end as
Oh,
I was a small.
So that early on, that train depot and the way it was ending.
That made Cushing a vital place because there was a stop here. I was talking to someone the other day that had relatives that lived in Agra, and they would ride the train from here to Agra, say
Wow,
to come to
it's
go
hard to
into
imagine.
Cushing and shop, ride it back there. So the train was a big deal. My grandfather was a doctor for the Santa Fe, so that was a big deal for him. He was a railroad doctor. So an exciting time at that, because it was just a different. We all thought there were problems, whatever, in the world, but little did we know what was to come. As we look back now, seems like a much simpler time.
Yes.
But it had its own problems.
And that's true of any situation. I mean, you always look at something else and think, well, it's not as hard as it, is now. But really, it was.
It was. In its own way, it was.
Yes, it was. Let's talk about the Masonic Lodge, which is located directly north of this building. Still has the cornerstone in it with the symbol. Now, was your father a Mason and so on and so on?
My dad was a member of the Masonic Lodge here, and my grandfather was a charter member of the Masonic Lodge here. So when I got to be 14 years old, my dad made sure that I joined the DeMolay chapter, which was DeMolay is a youth organization sponsored by the Masons to help young men, learn good things in life. And
my brother was a DeMolay.
Was he a DeMolay?
Yeah.
And one of the things that you have the opportunity to do in DeMolay is if you want to pursue that side of it, is you have the opportunity to learn public speaking. So that's one of the areas that I kind of took to in DeMolay. I observed that the public speaking was sure a lot easier than fixing fence on the farm. I mean, that was I did that, but that was hard. So I took to the public speaking and excelled in it in DeMolay and won state awards in it. So that probably had an influence, or that most definitely had an influence on the rest of my life.
Because as a career choice, you went to what college?
Well, I went, I think of about people that make all these decisions on where they're going to go to school and they agonize over it. I just went to the closest one. It was 25 miles down the road, so I went to Oklahoma State University. It seemed simple.
Yeah.
Seemed simple to me.
Like a no-brainer, right?
I'd been on the campus several times at 4-H club roundups and whatever that I was a part of, but went to Oklahoma State University. Majored in political science, so they kind of the public speaking that I had learned earlier might have had an effect there, but I was just fascinated with all levels of government, and I was active in the Republican Party at the time I was in college, and actually when I was in some of the political science classes and we were talking about political parties, the college professor would have a couple of us actually teach part of the college course. He would call on us to get student participation, and so we had a good college career. And then when I got out of graduating from college, I went to law school at the University of Oklahoma in Norman, and graduated there. So I've graduated from both the large state universities, but
Oh, that's,
As
not everybody can say that.
Yeah,
That's pretty
but as
cool.
but as I
So what
tell people,
side do you lean on?
Well,
I mean,
that's what I was going to say. I was able to keep 100% of my allegiance to OSU. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, well,
So-
that just made the camera guy happy, since he attends
that's right.
OSU. He just got a big grin out of him.
There we go.
So after you graduated and went on to obtain your license to be an attorney, where did you hang a shingle?
Well, I came back to Cushing and opened a law practice here. But then almost simultaneously, I ran for the Oklahoma House of Representatives, state representative, and as a Republican, defeated a long-term entrenched Democrat in this district. Was the first Republican elected from this district. At that time in Oklahoma, Democrats outnumbered Republicans 3-1. So today, the two political parties are roughly the same. But to be a Republican in Oklahoma 40 years ago was a hard road.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And what a great thing for the city of Cushing to have a hometown person be at the Capitol. That had to be a huge deal, I would think, for this community.
yeah, it was, and I enjoyed my time in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. Was on the Appropriation Committee, which is the key committee, and was a contributing member and enjoyed it greatly.
So that's really cool. Hometown boy makes good and goes to the Capitol. It's kind of like Mr. Smith goes to the Capitol, I suppose. Well, we're getting close to being at the end of our segment, but I've asked you, we kind of talked about it a little bit, to maybe have you come back, from time to time and just speak about some different things, and you have Cushing memorabilia. So we're gonna get you on that. But you're watching Donna and Friends right now, and it's me and Joe Manning. We'll be back.